Thank you very much. Yes, so this work I will present today is actually a collaboration between a biologist, an engineer, and two physicists. So it's really interdisciplinary. In total, our group in Göttingen is tackling problems of network dynamics. So and today I will, so essentially biological neural network modeling. But today I will go into artificial neural networks and asking the question how collective nonlinear dynamics can be used to be brought to use in autonomous systems. And for those of you who are mathematicians, autonomous systems here means something like robots, not non-driven systems. Yeah, as I mentioned, can we move the table? As I mentioned, we are working on mathematical modeling of a broad spectrum of networks, ranging over a large range of spatial and temporal scales from milliseconds to years, and from something like micrometers to kilometers. And our main focus is on neural networks. So this is a picture of a human brain. I hope every one of you brought one of these items with you. It makes you autonomous. And this is a picture of a pyramidal cell. There are about of the order of 200 different types of nerve cells in your brain. And the total number of cells is about 10 to the 10 or 10 to the 11. So 100 billion. The guy I will talk about today is Amos. He's sitting on the grass here, and he is developing himself towards being an autonomous system. Yeah. The topic of today is towards neural-inspired autonomous systems, and I will use principles of nonlinear dynamics and self-organization to steer these systems. In general, there are different types of biomechanics used in animals, and we are trying to transfer some of the principles there. So different types include wings for flying, or different, how's it called, flossen? Fins for swimming. Actually, the mammals have, so this is a shark having a fin which is vertical, and you can distinguish from mammals like whales or dolphins, which have back fins which are horizontal. And we are mainly interested in these guys, which also can fly, but also can walk. And our Amos cannot fly yet, but there are different gait patterns, and there are different turning patterns and hiding patterns, and so on. And in general, there are very simple motor actions, which are reflexes. So the local motor responds to a local sensation. For example, you know it from an old story from if you go to the doctor and he touches your knee at the right point, and your knee goes up automatically because it's not really processed in a high-level processing in the brain, but it's more or less done by your spine. So it just goes one synapse up to your spine, and there's a local processing, and it initiates the reflex. More complicated patterns are reaction patterns to changing environments. For example, if you walk, then I can, as a human, I can go like that. And 2 days ago, I was brought to hike. And depending on the slope, you go a different gait. You go, for example, like this. Or if the slope gets larger, you go like that. And if you remember being a child, you start romping around and crawling and so on. So there are different types of patterns, and for insects, the spectrum is actually at least as large. And typically, there are small circuits responsible for producing a certain pattern. This is a pattern not for motor generation, it's not for gait generation, but for controlling the digesting movement of the stomatogastric ganglion of lobster. And this small circuit is actually not 4 neurons, but it's about 12, depending on which you count in. There are 4 different types of neurons, so this is why there are double or triple symbols here. And this so-called central pattern generator generates a periodic output, or almost periodic output, which then creates the motor pattern for the digesting organ. But this pattern is fixed, and this kind of distributed neuronal motor control requires an understanding of the nonlinear dynamics and self-organization in these systems. So one question is how is it possible that this neural network is generating such a nice periodic output? This is a question several theoretical biologists try to answer, and we are also working on actually exactly this system. But today I will answer the question how a technical system can achieve different kinds of periodic outputs with only one of these circuits. 2 core processes support the autonomy of robots or artificial systems. One is adaptivity, by which I mean short-term and reversible changes to environmental changes, response to environmental changes essentially. And the second is learning, so long-term change which is sustained and which enables the system to react to a given situation, to a repeating situation in the right way after learning. These processes are also nonlinear. They typically induce self-organized emerging collective states, where I don't want to debate self-organized. It's certainly not, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't call it cognitive, because our system cannot think about possible options. It just reacts at the moment. And one aspect we are addressing also is, can it be realized in a neuroanalogous way? So can you set up a system which a natural biological system could also build in a very similar way? So it's a kind of bio-inspired development, and it also provides a possible explanation for biological phenomena like pattern generation. Yeah, this is AMOS. It's a long abbreviation actually, which I always forget again. This I think stands for autonomous mobile system, and this I forgot, and this is the number of legs. And the biomechanics has been developed by Puramate Manampong during his PhD thesis, actually during his free time. It took 4 years to develop this guy, and he first did it like besides his normal PhD project, and at the end he used it for his PhD project. And the aim was to realize biomechanically a large number of possible options of behaviors the system has, and this guy ends up having about 15 of the order of 15 different kinds of behaviors which can be steered. If you have a remote control, you can just get 15 different items. And this is if you let them run for free. This is the grounds of University of Göttingen. And one of the steps which was missing was to make it, this biomechanical item, to make it autonomous such that it behaves in a changing environment. And so of course there's standard steering and like hardwired artificial intelligence gate control. But of the modern methods, there's a neuronal control which seems to be more adapted to these complex systems. And a standard approach here is to use one central pattern generator for each gate. So if you have gate number 1, which might be a normal hex support, normal gate, standard gate, for example, slow wave gate, you take a